Hello, it's Joe Remax coming to you from our offices in Bangkok. Today I have a different topic for this video. It's kind of a human interest combined with history and a pet project of mine. There was a seller who came to our office to sell their property. I was amazed when I first saw the deed. I will show you right here now in the video. And this was amazing deed. It was over 100 years old. So I knew this was something special when I saw it. This is a century home that has a lot of history, and I thought for this video today we could go through the history. And my hope is somewhere someone will see this and fall in love with it and become its new owner, because I hate to see it fall under the bulldozer for a developer to turn up yet another condo. So it's quite a unique property, and what I thought I would do in this video is give you a bit of history about the property to put it in context and maybe walk you through on my computer, which is over here, and we can take a look around the property a little bit and some unique features. So let's talk a little bit about the property to put it in context. It was a century home built in with an architecture of colonial style in about 1932. It's located in Talad Plu, which is across the river from Bangkok, not that far. You can actually get to it on the SkyTrain system. The closest station is about 1.5 kilometers away. It's about 200 meters from the old railway station. What's unique about it are many things, actually, but it's built along a canal. It's quite a big piece of land, about 664 square wa, which is a Thai measurement, and that equates to about 2,600 square meters, or just over half an acre, about 0.65 acres. The house is built out of mostly wood and concrete. So all the walls and structure is concrete. Wood is used in the floors and doors and windows. The house itself was built by a doctor, and it is occupied today by his descendants. It has never left the family from the day it was built. And it's about 90% original, which is just amazing to walk through this property. And you'll see later as we go through the tour. Stay tuned, stay for that tour, because it's worth it. It's almost like a free museum visit, and there are some little gems inside. So do stick with it. I think it's worthwhile to see some of this amazing architecture, and not only that, there's a few surprises for you later on in this video. So it's for sale. The price is 35 million baht, which is about $1.1 million, or about 960,000 euro. Okay, let's talk about a little bit of history to put this into context, right? So built in 1932 by Dr. Kusari, was orphaned at a very early age. At the early age of 9, he went to study herbal medicines in China. Then he returned to Thailand and worked in a medicine shop. A brother-in-law owned a medicine shop, and this was the hub of the community to bring medicines to that community. In 1929, he opened his own shop. I have a picture of the original sign, which I'll put up now for you guys to see, where he sold his own medicines, and he sold there to the end of his lifetime. He was quite successful and a very, very generous man, participating in his community. He built some schools, temple, and one of the very kind of charming stories is that he actually built a bridge and dedicated that to his wife, whose name is Sombun. So today there is a bridge in the community with a plaque commemorating his love for his wife, and the construction of this bridge dedicated to his wife, Kun Sombun. The good Dr. Kim had 5 kids. His eldest son is where the history picks up. And we find records of a Dr. Bunrod or Dr. Rod. So you can think of him, Dr. Rod. It's actually a very interesting story. Dr. Rod followed in his father's footstep of medicine and studied overseas, as far as I understand, in the UK. He returned to Thailand to try to set up the first penicillin production in Thailand. And actually I have a letter of some of his attempts to get some international involvement, get some assistance in doing that, and I have a letter of rejection that maybe I can just flash up on the screen for you now. And you can see that, you know, he dedicated his time. He tried to set up this production of penicillin. The big pharma at that time didn't want the competition. They wanted to import it and get their money. Anyway, unfortunately, his production facility, penicillin factory or production facility, burnt down, which is quite tragic. Now, I don't know whether he rebuilt it or not, but I do know that it was burnt down. And so the history continues, and his direct descendants live in that house today. These are his grandson of Dr. Rod, who came into my office with this very old deed. And what I want to do now is take you over to my computer. Let's take a look at some of the property, and I'll try to point out some features as we go into the property. So let me start the recording, and I will be on the screen here on my computer. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the canal that passes in front of the house. And the property goes from down around this corner. As we spin in, here we go, is the entrance. So it's really interesting. Today, the only way in is by foot. Now it is possible, if you want to build a bridge on these things. Maybe we can see down here. Here is a property where they actually built a bridge to cross with a car. But the current occupants, the family, they go in by foot. They park elsewhere and go in by foot. Here's the house, and this will give you an idea of the size of the property. It's quite large piece of property, and we'll go in. What's interesting is that not only are the canals in front, but down each side of the property and across the back there's canals. So it's all around the property is surrounded by canals. So big ones in the front and back, and small ones for irrigation originally along the sides. The house itself does need some work, but the architecture is just fantastic. One of the interesting features, maybe I have it here. There it is. Okay. So this is a cement water tank. It's not used anymore, but it was original. So we're kind of behind the house right now. In here is an outdoor kitchen that hasn't been used for a while, and currently they use this section, and we'll go inside and take a look at that section for the kitchen. So we're back in the front of the house. It's really quite nice architecture. Let's take a look from the side of the road, and here you see the arching windows, the stained glass. Let me see if I can get it a little closer to the stained glass that we find throughout the house. Up here is very interesting, and it's nice when you look inside. You can see here that the whole thing is built for ventilation, which is really interesting. When you get in, there was no air conditioning at the time that this was built, so the architecture supports, you know, all natural wind passing through. So let's take a look now. So as we approach, you can see there's still original tile work here on the porch. There, we can see it a little bit. So a little bit of cleanup, that will be quite something. And as we turn around, this is a view off the porch. Wonderful mature trees. Now, as we go on in, please understand it's occupied today by the family. So it doesn't show quite like a show house. But as you come in, there is one living area, and then the rooms around it. And up here, this is a sign from the original drugstore of Dr. Kim. This area over here is where it's used as a kitchen today. So I told you there was an outside kitchen. This is what they're using today as their kitchen. So this is the kitchen that's used today. It can be, of course, upgraded or changed. You'll see the wooden floors. And the other interesting part of this house is the ceilings. They're all done in wood. There is a bathroom back here. Not original. The original bathrooms were all outside. But you can see here that there's grating, but all the windows open up to let the air in, the top of the windows as well. Okay, so let's take a peek back out here. And as we go through here, this area that we're going into now is another room. Right now it's used for storage. This is a bedroom here. What is interesting is that the grandson told me, oh, there are 2 rooms you haven't seen yet. Let me see if I can find some photos of that for you. So I was in that room. He came over and they started to pull this thing along the floor, and I'm kind of wondering what's happening, to expose this door. This door, he opened up. He went and found a special rod used to open it. And this is what we found. We have this whole area underneath. And I know it's quite common for us to have basements in North America and other countries, but for here it's quite rare. One of our brave agents crawled down into the hole, and we took a look around. Let me show you what we found. So down underneath is this room with all kinds of interesting kind of things that have been stored there for forever, I guess. And there are 2 rooms, and they look something like this with storage underneath. So that's quite an interesting kind of secret feature of the property, all underneath this bench here. So let's take you a little bit to look around upstairs. It's kind of interesting. Again, you can see all the original work. There is some things like this here, but at the top of the door is the stained glass you find throughout. These are ventilation cement blocks that allow the wind to pass through. So this room is, as long as they can remember, has been a prayer room. Now here you can see the stained glass where it's really nicely exposed. And behind these shelves you can see up here that the original windows to outdoors remain. So it can be uncovered and opened up. Again, you look at the ceilings, very interesting work on the ceilings. Over here we have, maybe step into the room here. This is a small room, again used for prayer. And again, it opens all up to outside, and you can see the beautiful stained glass and the old wooden shutters here. You will find there's another bedroom here. Yeah, these all open up to the outdoors, and when this is all open, again, more windows here for ventilation. So it's quite something, this house. I have some shots here. Let me share this with you of some of the details. So this is a kind of fittings on the doors. It's missing a piece, but not all the doors are like that. Here's some close-ups of the stained glass and the ventilation over the stained glass. Here's a close-up of the tile work. Needs a bit of scrubbing, but it's very beautiful. Some close-up of the windows. If you look up underneath the house, here you have the windows and this kind of finishing. So that's kind of interesting. Again, you can see they're well worn. They need a little work. Here are some of the detail of the brickwork underneath the house. As you can imagine, a lot of history in this home, a lot of culture, a lot of family history as well. So, and it's my hope that we can find a new owner for the home and turn it into something really special. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and this is Joe Remax. Like, share, and I'll see you next week.